Hi, my name's Gary Klinefelter, Corporate Executive Chef for Alla Familia Restaurant Group in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for joining me here on my journey. I want to give you a little bit of information and background about myself. Not only am I the corporate chef for Alla Familia, but I'm also a certified executive chef, a certified culinary administrator, and a fellow of the American Academy of Chefs through the American Culinary Federation. During my career of the last 33 years, I've been so fortunate to have lived and traveled throughout the world through some really cool and exotic locations. I've always described my style of food as eclectic world cuisine, everything from French, American, Mediterranean, Thai, Pan-Asian, Caribbean, Latin American. So my global style of food is what you're going to see today. So I'd like to take you on this journey of my food of eclectic world cuisine. So thanks for coming along with me. The first course we're going to go for is our island style ceviche. Okay, so today what I want to make for you is a twist on an island ceviche. After spending time living in the U.S. Virgin Islands, I have all these things that I really truly enjoy making. So what we're going to do today is a twist on a ceviche using red snapper, red onion, mango, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, lime juice, and avocado. And also for a garnish, we're going to do crispy fried plantains. So the first thing we're going to start out doing is the crispy fried plantains. I cut the plantain. We're going to slice it just a little bit thin. I want to do it on an angle, and then we're going to soak it in salt water. The really important thing about soaking it in salt water is the salt does two things. First, it helps to flavor the plantain, but it also does help to relieve a little bit of the starch, so whenever it fries, it can get crispy and it can get golden brown, and it's going to taste wonderful this way. We're just going to do a few more of these here. Perfect. I've sliced them a little bit on the bias. They're not too wide, they're not too thin, but I do want to be able to have some substance because this is the beautiful part that we're going to use to actually eat this ceviche with. Crispy fried, golden, once it's there, dip it up, scoop it with the chip and eat it. So we're going to soak these for now. The next part of the ceviche will be to actually mix the ceviche. So we're going to start out with our fish. Here we have red snapper. After living in the Caribbean for so long, red snapper, grouper, mahi-mahi, those types of fish, anything that's a flat white fish or small round fish works really perfect for this. So we're going to start out by putting the fish into our bowl. I do want to season right off the bat with a little salt, kosher salt. We have white pepper. And we're going to go ahead and start with some of our ingredients here. Now, ceviche is really truly a classical Peruvian dish, but it has so many origins after making its way from South America to Central America to Mexico and to eventually the Caribbean. So that's where some of these changes and differences and nuances come in. And this is where I'm adding the cucumber, the tomato, the peppers, and the mangoes. So we're going to add a little more of these tomatoes that we have here. I'm going to add some bell peppers. Now, bell pepper is certainly really not a traditional accompaniment in a ceviche. Most people in indigenous islands or cultures are going to use habaneros, Scotch bonnets. Not everybody likes that heat. I certainly enjoy the heat, but for this application, we're just going to show without it, and then we're going to put a little variation on it. So we're adding the cilantro as well. We're adding red onion. I also like to add a little bit of orange juice as well. I think that some of that sweetness helps to soften up some of those flavors. Now we're going to add our fresh lime juice. The whole idea with the lime is we're trying to gently cook the fish. So it's not being cooked by heat, but it is going to be cooked by the acid of the lime juice. Not only that, but it's a wonderful flavor. It really helps with the sweetness of the mango that's in here as well. Helps balance all of that. Now, one of the other ingredients that I'm going to use, we talked about not using habanero or Scotch bonnet, but I have this really cool Alvin's hot sauce. So a shout out to my friend Alvin from Trinidad. Alvin and I worked together in the Virgin Islands, and he created this awesome hot sauce. I always put it on everything, and I certainly like a little bit in our ceviche. Not too much, we don't want it to be too hot, but we're gonna bring it to life and really add some cool flavors to it. So we're gonna mix all this beautiful ceviche. See how colorful, how beautiful it is, just a rainbow of colors. Same thing, a lot of great flavors as well. Pause. And then we'll come back and we'll finish the dish and plate it. So we've mixed all this beautiful product up here. You can see this lovely colors. The next step we're going to do is I want to taste this just to make sure that the flavor is on point. Sometimes it may need a little more salt or pepper. We're going to add just a touch more salt. The lime is perfect. Everything else is good. Lastly, let's add a little avocado to this too. I love that texture of the avocado. Like I said before, a little something different, not quite indigenous to a regular ceviche, but we're going to add it here. So I'm just making small little slits here in this avocado, not going all the way through. Small little incisions halfway down. And then whenever I use the spoon to scoop, the avocado is going to come out rather easily. Okay, so now we're going to mix all this up, and next we're going to have to fry our plantains. We'll come back and we'll assemble the rest of the dish. All right, so now we're back. We've already fried off the plantain chips here. What we did was we had 350-degree oil, did them right on the stove, and we just lightly fry them until they're golden. As you can see, they're beautiful, have a nice texture to them, crispy. All right, so lastly what we're going to do is we're going to plate this dish. We're just going to go ahead and spoon in the ceviche into our bowl. The other thing we're going to put in too, there's always this residual liquid left whenever you're making ceviche, and it's called leche de tigre, or translates to tiger's milk. A lot of times known or believed to be cause really good healthy properties in the body for consuming it, so we're always going to make sure we add a little bit of that leche de tigre right into our ceviche. Okay. We're going to go ahead and finish this dish off with our crispy fried plantain chips. We just use these nice chips as a vessel to get that delicious ceviche right to our mouth. All right, this is it, finished product. Enjoy. All right, so the next dish that I'm going to make is going to be a grilled heirloom tomato with goat cheese, smoked salmon, and a sun-dried tomato Creole oil. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to start out with the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes. So we're literally just going to pour this nice flavored oil off of the sun-dried tomatoes. We don't need a lot of it. A few ingredients. A little bit of nice turbinado sugar, just to sweeten it up a touch. Then I have this Cajun spice that's a mix of paprika, fresh thyme, cayenne, salt, a little bit of pepper, and that's it. And I really like the flavor of this because you have this really nice heirloom tomatoes that are so sweet. Then you take a little bit of this spiciness and a little bit of that flavor from the sun-dried tomato oil, and it just works. I really like these flavors together, so we're just going to blend these two things together. Doesn't have to be like a paste, but certainly we're not going to make sure that it's too thin. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to prep these heirloom tomatoes. I've already cut them in half. I've cored them and taken the ends off. So right now, we're going to season them with just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to give them just some regular kosher salt. A little bit of white pepper. And we're going to go ahead and get them on our grill. We're not looking to cook them the whole way through. We're looking to just char the outside, make sure it blisters a little bit, and takes a little bit of the chill off of the tomato as well. We're going to give them just a little bit longer, so that's not enough. We're going to go a little bit more. Turn our heat up just a touch. We're going to check the edges here. So we're starting to get some marks, but just not quite enough yet. This is one of these dishes that I've always enjoyed when I've worked in private clubs or restaurants. It's a nice, light appetizer to start with. You do have a little bit of protein from the smoked salmon, but certainly the tomatoes and the goat cheese are the star. Okay, we got some nice char on them now. You can see the blister of the tomato. We're going to go ahead and flip these over. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of goat cheese. We're just going to put a touch of goat cheese on the top. They'll melt a little bit, not a whole touch, a whole ton here. Just to speed the process along, we can give them just a little torch to melt the cheese. Just looking to soften it up a touch. Okay, these are done. So I'm just going to transfer them back to this plate for a second to hold. Okay. We're going to go ahead and place our smoked salmon on the top. Okay, and then to serve, we're just going to put 2 of these nice tomatoes here on the plate. We're going to take the sun-dried tomato Creole oil. We're going to drizzle a little across the top, a little bit around it. Finally, we'll finish it off with just some fresh chopped herbs. And here you have it, final dish. So for my next dish that I'm going to make today, we're going to do a grilled Moroccan style lamb chop with an eggplant stew of sorts that we're going to do. So the first thing that I want to do is we're going to start out with this pan that's hot. We've already preheated it. We're going to do a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in this pan. And we're going to go ahead and saute our eggplant. Looking for a little bit of that sizzle. Don't want it to be too hot. We're looking to start to break the eggplant down a little bit through time and temperature. We're going to season it generously here with salt and white pepper. I adjust the heat just a little bit. We're looking for the eggplant to start giving off some of that moisture. Lightly caramelize it, just a touch. Now the beauty of this dish, I really truly love this together. The eggplant and the tomatoes, this smoked paprika, so it has this really beautiful flavor that goes together with this Moroccan eggplant or Moroccan lamb chop. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to add our chopped garlic. And we do want to start breaking down the tomatoes. So we're going to go ahead and add our tomatoes. We're going to lower the heat just a touch. We're going to add in some oil-cured olives. A touch of crushed red pepper flake. Then we're also going to add our paprika. Generous amount of paprika. That's going to be one of the real main flavors with the eggplant and the tomato. I also have a little bit of lemon juice. We're going to go ahead and add this lemon juice. Start to simmer this mixture. The eggplant will continue to break down. We're just going to allow this to stew here for a couple of minutes. Adjusting our heat, we're going to turn our heat back up a touch. Okay. While we're cooking that eggplant, I would like to make the spice that we're going to do. So the spice mix that I want to do is called Rasel Hanut, which basically translates to head of shop or lead of shop, meaning that the person who was the spice maker was giving you the absolute best that he could. And that's what we're going to do today for this spice blend. So we have allspice, we have coriander, we have cinnamon, we have ground clove, we have coriander, we have cayenne, and we have ginger. We're just going to mix all those together. Use a fork here just to kind of mix these things up. Even chefs make a little spill, they can make a little mess sometimes. But once we go ahead and mix the spice blend up, I'm going to go ahead and season the lamb. So I'm going to use extra virgin olive oil. We're just going to lightly coat the lamb. Now you could add salt and pepper to this spice mix, but I would rather add the salt myself, that it's more controlled. So I'm going to season it very liberally with salt and white pepper. And then we're going to go ahead and do the Rasel Hanut. I'm going to just rub that in. We're going to season both sides. Even though as chefs we try to work as neat as possible, sometimes we make little happy messes along the way, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let these sit here for just a couple minutes. We're going to come back to our eggplant and get this going. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put these lamb chops on the grill here. Hear that nice sizzle. You're going to start to smell the fat render, that beautiful Moroccan spice of the Rasel Hanut. Turn our heat down a little bit. With all the fat rendering off the lamb, it's going to get nice and crisp and golden. The spice, the Rasel Hanut, is going to get toasted, and that's really going to lend itself to this dish with the eggplant and the paprika and all this beautiful flavors. We're looking to achieve a medium rare temperature, kind of my favorite temperature. You can certainly cook them more if you'd like. I think that lamb really needs to develop its texture around medium rare. Anything less is a little bit, can be chewy. Anything more, not going to taste quite as good. As you can see the sizzle on these lamb, the fat is melting off nicely. They don't take too long on here. Going to try to make some beautiful grill marks here just by, we've turned the lamb 90 degrees. Each time I turn it, that's how you get that nice little crosshatch grill mark. Feeling for doneness. Just turn them on the side just for a second. I want to get some of that fat on the bone rendered. Okay. These look fabulous. We're going to finish these last few here as well. Once again, I turned on its side just to get a little bit more of that fat rendered off of it. Okay. So we're going to head on back over and finish plating this entree. Okay, now that we're back from grilling our beautiful lamb chops, we're going to go ahead and finish this dish off with our eggplant. We're going to go right in the center. Maybe make a little line kind of up one side and back down the other. Certainly want to make sure that there's enough to go around. And we'll go ahead and lay our lamb chops out as so. Just arrange them nicely. Okay. We'll finish this dish off with pomegranate molasses, which is just literally all the beautiful juice from the pomegranate reduced down until it's a concentrated syrup. We're going to add the pomegranate arils, which are the inside of the fresh pomegranate where the pulp comes from. Adds this beautiful tartness to it. And then lastly, we're going to finish off with just a little more chopped cilantro and then a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And that is all. Our finished dish of Moroccan grilled lamb chops with an eggplant stew, cilantro, pomegranate arils.